Shadowbinders is back in stock on shopclownfish.com. That's shopclownfish.com. If you missed our Indiegogo, now's your chance. You can get the books again. And now on with the show. Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And the end is near. The end is near for a lot of these millennial media companies. In fact, BuzzFeed and Vice and a few other millennial media outlets are begging for cash. We talked about this before.
Yes.
And now we've got the Hollywood Reporter saying that this is their lifeline. This is the last resort for BuzzFeed and Vice. They have to get this money. This is why BuzzFeed is trying to sell itself as a tech company.
You know, if I was an investor and I looked at this, I would not give them money.
I know, right? It's almost like the Hollywood Reporter is trying to warn people not to invest more money into Vice and BuzzFeed.
Like, because they've done a really bang-up job with what they already had.
So we're going to talk about that, and then we're also going to talk about Kotaku. I saw this article yesterday floating around on Twitter, Colin Moriarty, talking about how Kotaku is admitting it's failed, and they're trying to course correct, but it sounds like their course correction is basically more of the same, but more. So that's not going to work.
When you're on the wrong path, the best thing to do is just stay on that path, but hit the gas.
right into the...
Oh, I didn't even give that a thought, yes.
Right down the road to destruction in the Facebook and Google.
And off the cliff.
And off the cliff. So before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We're over, I think, 204,000 subs.
Yay!
Thank you for the support so much, guys. It means a lot. And we do talk about these media outlets because we believe a lot of the problems going on in the fandoms have been flamed.
In the world in general.
In the world in general, but since we talk mostly about pop culture, a lot of outlets like Vice and BuzzFeed, and especially Kotaku, have been instrumental in dividing fandoms. And it's all about outrage. It's all about keeping each other angry. And most of these sites have been bankrolled by venture capital, smoke and mirrors. They're not as profitable as people seem to think they are. Just because a lot of people read them, it doesn't mean that they're actually turning a profit. Not when they're paying their reporters like $150,000 a year to write hit pieces. It's ridiculous.
They get paid that much?
Yeah, some of them
Why?
do. I don't know. I have no idea. It's not sustainable. Then a lot of them, they have these ridiculous offices. They have multiple bureaus all over the world. I mean, it's like they think they've been around. They're trying to give the impression, I think, that they are as big as legacy media. And they grew too fast, but it was all fake. It was like WeWork. Again, go watch that WeWork documentary. That is like the Rosetta Stone for everything that's going on in the media right now. It was all a big sham.
I like that analogy, Rosetta Stone. That's very nice. I like that.
So first we're going to talk about BuzzFeed and Vice, and then we're going to dip in on Kotaku.
Must we?
Yeah, we must. I don't think they're going to be around much longer either, or they're going to get sold off for next to nothing. So this is our last resort. I had a friend send this over, and we talked about it, like a week ago?
I don't think it's even that long ago. It was just a few days ago, I think.
That they were so desperate for money. BuzzFeed was so desperate for money that they were trying to rebrand themselves as a tech company so they could get a higher valuation, so they could basically scam more money.
Because they had sex toys.
They had sex toys. And merchandise and Amazon affiliate link.
Right. And their, what was it, the Tasty, or was it?
Oh, Tasty brands, yeah, because they sell. Well, you have the puzzle, the Devil's Pie.
Devil's Pie.
It was an awful puzzle, but they said that they're like a lot of revenue. Like, we make a lot of money off of Amazon affiliate links.
Who doesn't?
Mommy bloggers make a lot of money off of Amazon.
Yeah, I know.
Links.
I guess they should be getting all kinds of venture capital.
Well, give your venture capital to Amazon because they're the ones actually selling this shit.
Yeah, I know,
they don't
right?
Need you. So anyway, coming from the Hollywood Reporter, BuzzFeed and Vice Media's next pivot. Last resort efforts to go public. If they don't get this money, they're screwed. They're screwed. Private funding sources are running thin. A group of digital media companies are finding a surprise lifeline in blank check companies raising cash for IPOs and acquisitions. It's all a sham.
It is.
They're out of money. They're out of money. They're talking about how Vice Media bragged in 2014, we won't be the next CNN or ESPN or MTV, we'll be 10 times that size. A year later, BuzzFeed CEO informed staff that they were building a global cross-platform network for news and entertainment, something that has never existed before.
Again, see we work.
Half a decade later, those grandiose visions are gone as both companies claw to claim a larger share of advertising revenue in the landscape dominated by Facebook and Google. They're not profitable. Disney lost $400 million on Vice. They invested in the Vice.
But they're acting like this has only been like a recent thing about dominated by Facebook and Google, but that's been this way even 5 years ago. So it's not like it's only changed in the last few years. It was like this before.
Yeah, the risky gambit: go public to raise cash and roll more of their competition through a special purpose acquisition company, SPAC, a blank check firm that raises money in an IPO. That sounds legit. With the goal of merging with a private company and take them public. Yet the turn to SPACs by BuzzFeed, Vice, Bustle, Digital Group, and Group 9, all these companies, they all started about the same time, by the way. Mm-hmm. But, it was a little bit after Huffington Post. Remember Huffington Post? Yeah, that was a shit show. BuzzFeed bought them,
for stock deal. It was a stock deal.
It was a stock deal. They're not even worth paying for. Mike, remember Mike? That was another one of these. And they sold for $5 million. Somebody could literally, an individual could literally cut a check. It's like I can either buy a house in Beverly Hills or I can buy Mike. Mm-hmm. And that's where we're at right now. And we saw this happen with Tumblr too. They overpaid for Tumblr. It was Yahoo. They paid $1 billion for Tumblr, and it was so devalued that WordPress bought for $3 million. Mm-hmm. It's all bullshit and lies. All of it. All of these big media outlets, because they all thought they could grow overnight and compete with legacy media.
Well, even when they were doing well, though, they were doing well a few years ago. And then they shifted to this whole thing where it's like, where their whole platform changed from actually talking about things fans liked and fandoms to, attacking and...
Trump.
Yes. Oh, my God. If you took that, they would have been gone under years ago if you didn't have that to yell about. And it's just like they lost so much and people turned it off because like when you watch a movie and like, well, that's because you're toxic, whatever. And these outlets perpetuated that. And, it just lost their audience. What they think was effing going to happen. I don't understand how having this, money is going to change anything.
Yeah.
It doesn't change anything. It just means they're the same shit with more money. It doesn't change anything.
You're still not profitable. These companies aren't profitable. They're not making a profit. I mean, when you've got BuzzFeed, which everybody's like, oh my God, BuzzFeed's huge. And their brilliant ideas include making a Gamergate comedy movie, mm-hmm. which everybody agreed was a terrible idea, and bragging about how much of their revenue comes from Amazon affiliate links. I'm like, bitch, please. That is like, that's gravy money. That is gravy money. That should never be your business model.
No.
What if Amazon decided to get rid of the affiliate program tomorrow?
Yeah, then you're completely screwed.
I mean, come on.
But I just don't understand. What I don't understand is if people give them money, but it's the same problems, it's just going to be blowing through that money with no change. I mean, that's like having a big giant piece of crap, but sprinkling some gold leaf on it and saying that it's no longer crap.
Well, it's all that glitters is gold. So if it glitters, it's gold.
No, I can tell you that's not true.
Watch the WeWork documentary. I think it's on Hulu. That is the Rosetta Stone for understanding this mentality. Is basically fake it till you make it. Fake it until somebody comes along and buys your company, and you know what? It's their problem at that point. Was it the money pit? It's the money pit.
Yeah.
You make the house look real good, but then once you overpay for the house, everything starts falling apart.
I know. It's like, it's not going to make a change. Nothing's changing here.
So yeah, one finance guy basically said this is a last resort. A last resort, they told the Hollywood Reporter. The issue, the source says, is that the private financing that could support major acquisitions appears to be drying up. Venture funds financed the early growth of digital media, and Hollywood giants like Comcast and Disney poured in nine-figure
investments. And they got burnt.
They got burnt. Vice, $400 million Disney lost on Vice. Those entertainment giants are now spending billions to build Netflix competitors, and the venture funds for media are targeting companies in hot growth areas like gaming, augmented reality, and sports. leaving these large, previously capitalized digital media companies in limbo.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going on. Disney for sure is switching to things like gaming. They have like the ESPN stuff, and they were setting it up that they were going to try to do like e-gaming and stuff like that there. Augmented reality, they've been definitely dipping their toes into that. Disney's been partnering with companies. And what usually happens is it's like a partner program and they help you, but then they end up somehow taking it over or buying it out or buying.
No, you were right the first time.
They say it's because they bought whatever, but basically they're doing it. They're investing for the purpose of having them generate stuff for them. That's what they're putting their money now into, things like that, and into building up Disney Plus. I mean, hell, they're trying to get Disney Plus numbers up. So their new thing now is if you have the Apple Music Unlimited, if you're a new subscriber to that, you get 6 months of free Disney Plus to raise their numbers right at the end of this quarter, going into the fourth quarter, which is the end of the year numbers for them. They're focused on that shit and putting their money into those kind of deals.
Remember when companies used to brag about sales? Their bottom line, like provable figures. Now it's all about how many eyeballs do we have? How much is the valuation of our company? Like, how much did your company make?
Eyeballs doesn't necessarily equate to money. No. And even if it did, I don't think they have the eyeballs they used to have.
No, and that's what we're going to talk about with Kotaku here too. But they said all these companies are getting consolidated and snapped up. And we saw what happened with BuzzFeed and Huffington Post. And this is all bullshit. It's all bullshit. But
with gold sprinkles.
With gold sprinkles. So they go in through the backers, who backs these digital media's legacy backers. Yeah, they're all tied in together. Like Vice has 21st Century Fox, A&E, and Disney.
Which now Disney has.
Yeah. Group 9 has Axel Springer, Discovery Inc. BuzzFeed's got NBC Universal and her. So they're supposed to be, oh, hey guys, we're new media. We're real hip. How you doing, fellow kids? And it turns out that it's
they're
the
all
same.
Old white guys.
Yeah, it's all the same thing.
Sure.
It is. It's all the same thing.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen is these companies, they're gonna get gone. Speaking of companies that are going to get gone, so Kotaku is part of it's Geo Media now. It was Gizmodo. It's the husk of Gizmodo after Hulk Hogan kind of body slammed it. Mm-hmm. And so then those sites got sold off dirt cheap, very, very cheap to another company, that Geo Media, because they weren't worth anything.
No.
And now there's a new editor over at Kotaku. I guess she's been there before, but she's lamenting the state of the website. It's very interesting. If you go out to Twitter, and Colin Moriarty, who sums it up nicely and says, hey, this letter from Kotaku's new editor-in-chief is fascinating. The through line that the old way of games coverage is dying, has no core fan base anymore, depends entirely on SEO, and can't be saved is shockingly honest. I give them credit for writing
they kind of did that to themselves without having their fan base anymore, because they've been outright aggressive towards groups of gamers and stuff, certain people, and it bites you in the ass. People
tuned out and they went to YouTube and they went to alternative platforms and went to other sites. Other sites blew up that were independently owned and operated, and that's how it used to be. At one point in time, IGN was independently owned and operated until they sold out. A lot of these pop culture blogs, comic book resources, and they were independently owned and operated. Then they sold out and they became part of a company that got sold to another company and that got sold to another company.
Usually ends up with the studios in charge.
Yeah, and usually the studios.
So there's no bias there at all.
So she said it's a scary proposition to write the post because it means laying out my vision for the site. And writing it down like this means that what it is that I want to do, but more crucially, you get to judge if I'm living up to the standards I set out. It's terrifying because what I want for Kotaku isn't just ambitious. She wants to dismantle and redefine what a video game website can be.
Okay, what's that even mean?
I do not like what I see. Where to begin?
I guarantee it's going to go the way you don't want to go.
So here she goes through this and talks about how there's a news cycle. Well, you're a news outlet. Of course there's a news cycle. And it ends with, says everything that when writing about certain issues, video game websites often have to take care in explaining basic ass concepts like racism is real.
Oh, here we go.
No, they don't. That's the thing. The reason you have to dismantle Kotaku and start over is that everybody got turned off by all the politics in your website. This is the same website that was given a PlayStation 5 to review.
I remember this.
And we had several paragraphs about the machine itself. But then by the end of the article, the author decided to go on some multi-paragraph rant about racism and Trump and how could they be happy playing video games because racism and Trump and, oh, there's just another white guy coming into the office. And it doesn't matter. The world sucks. The world's burning. But hey, thanks for the free.
I can't understand why.
Free video game
system. So her answer to fix the problem is to do more of that.
Yes.
I mean, I was like, hey, I'll give her credit for being honest and coming out and saying, hey, we've done effed up. But now she's going to double down on the F up. And then you know it's going to be because you guys are shitty people, not because they're the fact that you go to Kotaku for game news, not for political commentary and hot takes.
Well, look at what happened to IGN. They decided to get overly political, and then IGN, with Palestine, they were openly supporting a Palestinian charity or something like that, and then IGN Israel called them out like, "Whoa, wait a minute." That's not gonna fly. Why are you guys getting political? And then we've had all kinds of issues. I don't know what's going on there. I suspect we're gonna have people get shit canned from IGN, or they'll just sell IGN and be like,
I don't want to deal with it.
We don't want to deal with you people.
Because it's with investment groups and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is where these other people want to go. They want to go down this path of investment group. And this is what happens with these things. We don't want to deal with you. We're just going to fire people and sell it off to somebody else.
So here we go. So this is like, I mean, other sites are like, yeah, maybe we should stick to sports. And that's actually, that whole term came from GeoMedia, which told Deadspin, which was supposed to be a sports site, to stick to sports and stop, editorializing about politics. But she's going to go the opposite direction. So good luck with that here at Kotaku. Okay, at some point, having to explain power dynamics over and over again is not a question of informing the readership. It's a tacit acknowledgement that our audience likely has a specific background. And consequently, that reality means that even as we cover more mainstream subjects like marginalized identities, the writing is truly not for that wider audience. This haunts me.
Just wait.
The presumed reader looks or sounds nothing like me, and yet here I am leading a video game site.
Oh, what? Because you're a woman? Are you seriously going to use that? Really?
Basically, it's a bunch of white dudes, and I got to write for white dudes. But I'm going to give a disclaimer as to why I'm going to write for white dudes. It's not a matter of being woke. It's a matter of survival. Video game websites, as they exist now, repeatedly fail to represent the wide swath of people who play games.
You're just supposed to report on games, and if they're good or not. That's what people want to know. They don't care about all this other shit that you're inserting in there. You're making it divisive.
Oh my God. Every year that passes, this failure becomes more and more evident. Everyone plays games now, yet most of these people hardly frequent video game websites unless they need to know how to do something.
Well, that's
always been the case.
Yes. And you know what? It doesn't help either when you have a bunch of people reviewing games and, these different outlets don't even play the damn game.
That is not a good look.
No.
Again, I want to refer people to Electronic Gaming Monthly back in the day. I need to show Squid King. I got a huge stack of them out in the garage. That you will not find any commentary on politics or religion or race or anything. It's just
amazingly enough. I know this is going to be a shock to these people, especially this woman, that, since video games showed up, a lot of different kinds of people played them. And we're talking men, women, boys, girls, people who, liked dick, people who liked vagina, irregardless of their gender, people that weren't white. It's been going on for years. Hell, some of the best game players out there that'll kick your ass are not white people. This has been going on for years. It has been diverse for years. This whole idea that you need to change it to show that there's diversity is a load of shit. I'm sorry. It's already been diverse for years. You need to just stick to what you're supposed to talk about and stop trying to preach to everybody else what you think, is going on in the world and who's marginalized and bullshit. A lot of these game creators, too, that aren't white, straight, or male, call your ass out all the time for this shit.
This is just, wow. Okay. If we do reach this mythical mainstream gamer, no.
You won't. You'll fold before then.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
It's likely because Google willed it, not because we've cultivated that dedicated readership. Oh my God, this sounds like a paywall.
Well, I was going to say, it sounds like, they're going to pay off Google or something.
Since social media websites throttle who can or cannot see our work, maybe they wouldn't if you didn't get so political. We spend our time worshiping the fickle SEO gods. Your favorite game website is likely quietly bankrolled by guides and service writers who try to predict what people will search next, not news writers, critics, or reviewers. Playing that traffic game and being good at it, of course, is only a temporary salve. Yesterday it was Facebook, today it's Google, tomorrow who knows. So basically...
Well, it's not going to be Kotaku, I can assure you that.
Yeah, basically she's preemptively apologizing for the eminent failure of Kotaku.
And blaming everybody else.
It's not our fault. It's because Google didn't like us and we're catering to all the white dudes and they don't want to read us either. But sorry.
And it's because the internet sucks and because, people don't want to actually, they want to hear, they don't want to hear, they want to hear these, just how playthroughs go. Yes, they do. They want to hear, is this game good? Here's how I played this game. Not that you copy from somebody else and skip over that. They want to hear, here's how you do this. Here's a hint to do this. How can I do that? And you know what? They're not even going to go to you for this. They're going to go to YouTubers anyway. And watch their damn playthroughs. They don't care about you because they can go there, have fun, watch a playthrough, learn how to do it, and not be like, oh, and by the way, all right, Yahtzee, blah, 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 Trump.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that, when these journalists try to game that they can't do it. A lot of them can't do it. I'm not saying all of them, but what I'm saying is the hardcore gamers, the people that used to work on Electronic Gaming Monthly, they actually played the games. The people who used to be at the Nintendo helpline, they actually played the games. The people working at these publications, a lot of them are there for clout. They don't actually play the games.
No, they're too busy trying to tell you, how you should vote and,
right.
Which members of your family are horrible people and why you shouldn't talk to them and why PlayStation 5, you shouldn't buy one even though they were given one. Yeah,
you shouldn't buy one because the world's burning. This is crazy. And she talks about how she was at Polygon too. So
there's a surprise. Who would have thunk it?
Talk about how
God, it hurts.
Games are taking up a lot of time. They're punishing you for not logging in daily. That's actually not untrue. A lot of the games now are more of a time sink than just picking up an NES cart. And because a lot of time back then was spent just trying to master the game, the patterns, and being able to blast through it in 15 minutes. Being up to date on certain big games is a job unto its own, only achievable if you focus solely on that one title. Which is
also not untrue.
Yep. Or at least only a few of them, but the mandate of a video game website is to cover widely. We have to make choices about which games we dig into and which we cover more casually. All of this has to be balanced with publishing daily, multiple times a day. These pieces also require time to do research. Boy, is this the part where she makes the excuse they don't have time to actually play the games because they're too busy writing about the games they don't play?
What's funny to me? We do this channel. We're starting a gaming channel. We do our books. We do 2 blogs and everything else. And we do it just mostly, there's a little bit of help in just us. So don't tell me, you can't do your job.
Oh, boy. So they talk about the anger, the news report sometimes doesn't present video games as communities in a positive light. Well, no shit.
It doesn't sound like they're going to either.
Anger stoked by influencers who need you to believe game journalists are awful.
Oh, is that what they're talking about? Is that like they're talking about us? Well, maybe if the game journalists actually did their job and didn't make it about, politics and actually talked about the games.
It's not hard. These websites don't get it. It's not hard. If you go to a website for video game news, just talk about the games. Talk about the games coming out. Nobody's saying you have to be a master at those games, but if you're going to presume to school other people on the proper way to play a game or beat a game or whatever, one, make damn sure you know how to play it and you know what the hell you're talking about, and two, don't lift somebody else's playthrough, IGN, because they've done that before. But it's not rocket science.
And and all the time and effort you're putting into this investment of shoving politics into everything, you could have that much more space available for actually covering games, which is why people are there. And as far as the influencers go, and they're making slaps at them because they're out there playing through on Twitch and YouTube and stuff like that, people are going there because they actually get to see the damn game. They actually get to see the hints and how to do stuff. And they actually get to go watch it in real time and have fun, as opposed to reading an article that spends 2/3 of it telling you why you're a bad person if you didn't vote the way they wanted you to. It's not that hard.
So she's saying she's terrified because she knows she's going to fail. But she's building up to why she's going to fail, which is basically putting the onus on the audience, putting the onus on Facebook and Google.
Of course she does, because none of these people ever take responsibility for their own bullshit.
I haven't even touched the institutional struggles going on at GO. Yeah, the problem is GO expects you to make money. Failure seems inevitable, but I'm the sort of cursed person who cannot shoot for anything less than changing the way the game's played.
Oh my God, how long? Okay, and the time it took her to write this article. How many things could have been done that was not, that could have actually improved what was going on? Or could have been done to actually work on the site?
Yeah.
I mean, I credit that she's actually saying, hey, we're failing. But she's not doing it in a way of, hey, we're failing, but we're going to take a realistic approach of how we're going to fix it. It's, hey, we're failing. It's probably not going to fix it because I'm probably going to piss a lot more of you off. And it's going to fail, but it's all your fault.
Yeah, she's basically saying, I'm going to do it my way. It's probably going to fail, but it's because you guys are a bunch of toxic people, is the way I'm reading it. But if you say that, then she's also worded it in such a way that she's right, because we have to deal with all these toxic people every day. And look, I get it. When you're working for a publication, your name's on that thing. We get shit all the time.
Yeah,
too.
I like how they define toxic. Toxic is by, it's always toxic because they don't vote the way they want or they lean a certain way. We get so much shit, it isn't funny. And you know what? Since we're more in the middle, we get it from both sides a lot of times, but we get it far more from one side than the other. And we actually lean the way that we get the shit from.
Oh, God. I don't want just more Kotaku.
No one wanted more Kotaku. You have no problem there. People are going to agree with you.
Why bother? The future of Kotaku to me spans beyond video games. Wait a second. Whoa. Let's back this up. Video games are probably the most searched term right now on the internet. They're the most popular thing in all of nerddom. And if you're failing, and you've got Kotaku, which is ranking pretty high. If you're failing at writing about video games with this much horsepower, the problem is you. Because adding other shit to Kotaku isn't really gonna help. Because usually it goes the other way. Usually it's the video game sites start, or other sites start talking more about video games to get more traffic. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is some...
I'm just reading the last couple sentences and I'm like face palming. Go ahead.
Which one?
Games provide a crucial framework for parsing modern life, and Kotaku will now be an attempt to capture that. I believe a different type of video game site is possible. You've been trying. Basically, what you're describing is what you're already doing. And it's not doing very well. So your answer is to double down on that? That doesn't even make sense. It doesn't even make... Oh, my God.
I want to move away from treating gaming like a product or industry.
Instead, examining them more as microcosms for the human condition.
Oh, God, we're done. It's game over. It is game over for Kotaku.
That's completely fine, guys, because there's a bunch of other websites out there that you can go visit, instead, or go to YouTube, or go look to the influencers they hate so much. There's a reason why they hate them. And they tried to make sure that they got their videos pulled down, or they tried to go out. Didn't they try to go after them for PlayStation 5 and different stuff because they were getting them and they were mad about it?
Yeah.
There's a reason companies are going to the influencers directly. There's a reason why they're the influencers. If you want fair, honest, here's how it is, we're showing you, and go there. That's what I'm going to tell you. If you want more of the same bullshit, if you want to be told you're a bad person every day because you don't agree with certain things, then go to Kotaku.
I give them 2 years tops. Eventually, the money is going to run out. I mean, BuzzFeed is begging for money. Kotaku's got no effing chance. We're going to wrap this up.
Yep.
All right. So please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.